Hey guys, Saf coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're going to be breaking down update 8.20, which we're going to affectionately call the power creep update so far of 2024. This update contains insane amounts of power creep in both champion power, stat blessings in terms of like the amount of stats you get, and just generally like the types of champions and everything else that they put in here. We've also got some changes to the wish list system in the blessing soul summoning system. We're going to be breaking down what that impact actually is, and also we've got some live arena adjustments here that they've snuck in as well. So let's just go through first the official patch notes that they've released. There's a ton of bug fixes in here that we're going to have a quick glance over as well, and then we're going to just have a quick look as well at the blessing reworks and just kind of cover off any sort of important specific features of those changes that you might not be aware of. So update 8.20, the big thing here, we got faction unity skills. So far we've only seen Aslin, the stalwart, coming in the banlords. Ironically, we're still doing this thing where the current position of player around champion balance is we will release better champions to compete and challenge Taras and Marichka in arena. We're not going to nerf, we're not going to rebalance Taras, Marichka, Ultimate Death Knight, that kind of meta that's been here for like 6 to 7 months now, if not longer. We're going to release brand new champions, and those champions are going to counter the meta. Well, we kind of have just thrown that out the window because Aslin, the stalwart, is bringing this faction unity skills where every single hero that you have that is of the same faction, you're going to gain bonus effects, and the effects that Aslin does just makes that Tarichka combo just even more powerful. You probably replace someone like Sify with him just because of the nature of his abilities, and it's just going to be stupid. It's so powerful. We don't actually know how you get Aslin. We have no idea right now. There's nothing in the game code that tells me. There's nothing sort of any information out there in terms of how you're going to get him. It's just going to be in-game events. So we'll have to see what happens. So far, there's only one. I would imagine they're going to do a bit like how they've done the mythical releases. Every month, we're going to get 1 or 2 new factions, and they're going to be filling the blanks until there's one in every single faction. So they've started with Banlords, ironically, the one faction that probably didn't need that unity blessing right now for arena. Then we've got the exchanging, the champion fragments. This is the new fragment exchange system here. There is information I have in the unofficial patch notes. We're going to look and see if, about all the different things people have asked me, like what's the drop rates? We'll talk about that in the unofficial patch notes. Now, one little sneak in here is the live arena adjustments. They've not talked about this. If you're in gold 1 or gold 2, you're now only going to lose 3 points per battle instead of 4. So that should basically mean you don't decay as much. They're trying to push you higher into gold 3 and gold 4. I don't really think you want to. I think you quite happily stay in gold 1 and 2 for a while because it's much easier for the meta at the moment. Most of the Krakens now are sitting in the higher levels. Most of gold 1 and 2 is Wukong Arbiter teams. That's all I seem to see is Wukong and Arbiter. But they have changed it, so it will mean you're climbing much quicker than you currently are. We've got permanent super raids. That's great. I know a lot of people are saying, where's the permanent super raids in Minotaur? And I get it. It does seem a bit of a miss, but there you go. If you want player to think logically and think about the player and think about things that really should exist in the game, then these things are not going to necessarily pop up. Clan insignia improvements. I didn't even know this was in here. What is this? Clan insignia will now be displayed in different areas. That's pretty nothing. Right. So what I was talking about, the big fix of bug list. It's a bug fix changes. A very big list here. Looks like they've done a very good job this update. Look how many there is of going through all of the different sort of things that have been niggling away, getting, squishing those bugs. It's nice to do a big bug fix patch every now and then because you can just get rid of all the different things that people have been reporting. So I'm just going to have a quick scan through here, and then I'm going to see kind of, is there anything that I want to call out in terms of this is a big change. Okay, most of these changes appear to be around sort of some of the double boss interactions that we've seen in Centranos, and also some of the mythical champion changes. Lots of things about Gal. There's a couple of things to really shout out. They fixed Ostrok's Boneglave's pain reversal skill to activate the shadow heal mastery. So this is going to stop it so that it heals. I think that was happening in one of his abilities. He's one of the new Void epics that's been in the game. A very good block buffs champion. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good fix. I'd have to go check what his abilities do. But I know a couple of people have reported to me that he was doing this and it was quite frustrating. So hopefully that's a good fix. We've also got a fix to Carillon the Ringer, the new Void legendary that came in like a couple of patches ago, maybe last patch. Where he wasn't fully depleting. This is a multiplier change, essentially. They've changed it from 1 times the maximum stamina to now basically what the enemy's stamina is turn meter in the game code. So it basically means before he would take 100 units out of the turn meter, now he's going to take the quantity of that turn meter. It basically meant that if someone was like over their turn meter bar because they've been pushed back because they keep losing the tiebreaker, then it would only ever take 100 away. Now it's going to take all of the turn meter that's currently sitting in that person's turn meter bar. So that's a very big change. It's quite a big buff to that ability if it wasn't doing it. It's not really a bug fix. Essentially, it's more of a way that you code it, right? It's a similar thing between Lysandra and Coldheart, where they both deplete the turn meter, but one of them does it based on the quantity of a turn meter bar, which is 100 units, versus what the current turn meter bar is. It doesn't normally matter, but in some situations it can be. So clearly they fixed that one there. Lots of things about Borgoth's passive. There's a little thing there with Madame Ceres. I don't really think that's a big deal. There's some things about Fatalis here. Fatalis now will actually ignore those effects. It doesn't really fix his underlying problem, which his multipliers just suck. Especially when you consider the multipliers for White King Narcissus, you'll see what I mean. But that is the main issue with Fatalis. Blade Master's multipliers just suck. Rathalot's overhead slash, cool. So yeah, they've also fixed a bug, which I experienced on the free-to-play, where you had a challenge to basically either remove or block the debuffs from the Void Keep, and it would never work unless you actually had to do both. So it's kind of annoying. You had to actually cleanse it, so they fixed that. I guess that's the free-to-play series doing its work. So there is an additional post here that they had to do, so they split up this update in 2 parts. This is all about blessing information, pretty much. So we've increased the chance of summoning wish-listed souls from ×2 to ×8. I have the math breakdown of how much that really makes a difference in the unofficial patch notes, and I have to tell you, it's not good. It's really not good. It feels painful when I do the math. Maybe I shouldn't have done the math because you don't want to know the reality. So I will absolutely put that in. We'll talk about it in the unofficial patch notes, but they have boosted it. It's a step in the right direction, but I think it's just still too low. Then we get some blessing rebalances here. We got lethal dose. This will be quite good if you have someone like a Calvalax, because if you have 2 Calvalaxes and there's no stone skin and there's no different realities, then you can absolutely get enough poisons out. It will be able to one-shot someone because about 5% per poison, and Calvalax will place 4 poisons. If you have 2 of them, you'll get 8 poisons. That means 1 activation round when a champion takes a turn will be about 40%. Well, if you boost that by 200%, that will become 120% of the target's health. So this should, if you land all 4 poisons on both Calvalaxes and they're not blocked, they're not cleansed, one-shot everyone when they take damage, a bit like how bombs work. So potentially that could be interesting. The problem is polymorph, stone skin, cleansing, block debuffs, all of these different issues that exist. It makes it very hard, but it could be something of interest now. It's getting closer to where it actually makes sense. It could work. Then we've got lots of different changes here. We've got some things like increases based on the number of dead allies. We've got Heavencast. Could be quite interesting, but again, I think the math is going to work out that if I get to 6-star, I just rather would take Crushing Rend, and anything below that is Phantom Touch just going to do more damage because you can't scale it hard enough. That's what we'll have to see. It might be quite good on defense-based or max HP nukers, but again, if you're hitting the cap, do you really need more damage? That's the question. Iron Will, we've changed them here to the number of debuffs on them. Okay. Indomitable Spirit, kind of useless still. We don't really care about this. What else we got here? Faultless Defense. A lot of talk about Faultless Defense. I think it's quite good for Fire Knight early game or Fire Knight in Sintranos, where you don't have many options. But in most cases, I think, like if you're running an Allure team, the boss doesn't take a turn. If you're trying to do Fire Knight 10 hard, the boss probably doesn't take a turn. And if you are, maybe you need to find someone with increased defense to fit into that team and Fire Knight hard. I think it's a bit limited, but it could work. And then we get to probably the most controversial, 2 controversial ones here: Polymorph and Emergency Heal. Now, Emergency Heal could be quite good at maximum HP for the champions that shield and heal a lot. People like Champfort, Vergis, potentially people in Blood Shield if they're working in that way. Maybe something that's quite good for like an Anerian Blood Shield or something of those natures. White Dry Aeneas could heal everyone with it. It's quite interesting of a change. I think this is the type of thing you want to do with these debuffs, chance blessings. Like nobody was using this really because it's just not that valuable, because if you're debuffed, you're probably losing anyway. It's nice damage reduction, but I actually think this is a good change, a positive change. It'll be interesting to see what types of champions we can find benefit for. Now with Polymorph, I'm going to go into specific detail how they've changed it in the game code, but Polymorph now should be less, but I do think maybe my positivity about Polymorph being dead in Arena maybe is just not going to come to reality. We'll talk about more of that in the actual sort of unofficial patch notes. Now, the other thing I want to quickly mention here is the stat changes have come through now. So every champion is going to basically get every stat that was previously available, but they did move where you get the stats in various different places, and it has caused a bit of trouble, and I think people need to be aware of this. So, for example, accuracy has moved from 4-star to 5-star. So if you previously had a 4-star blessing, you might need to build your champions with more accuracy because you probably have lost a big chunk of accuracy. Bit of a sneaky move by them. It's pretty good that they've reduced things from 6-star, but moving things up is not ideal. I guess they wanted to do it to distribute the star stat better rather than just giving you all the power at, say, rank 4 or rank 3. It makes sense, but that one is pretty painful, to be honest. So it's a bit awkward. But they have moved all of the bonus crit damage into 4. So basically for a damage dealer, rank 2 and rank 4 right now is big. Unless you're defense-based, then rank 3 and rank 4 is big. You're going to get a lot of stats there. Really, the only thing you get at rank 6 now is the better blessing and speed. So they've actually made rank 6 a little bit less desirable from a stat perspective. Defense comes in at 3, which is nice. HP, you're going to get all at rank 1 now. So a 1-star blessing for many champions, even if you think of like an epic champion, right? If I went down here and I looked for something like a Geomancer here. Geomancer now, a 1-star, gets 4,500 health. That's really good. Just base HP. Awesome. At rank 2, then, you're going to move up and you're going to get basically another 600 attack. Doesn't really help someone like a Masamoto, but someone like a Creodon now has tankiness and attack. Really, really good. Again, all of the attack that used to get a 6-star is all coming down to rank 2. That's what I said. They've moved a lot of power out of the rank 6 from stats. Defense-based champions really want to get to rank 3. So you can see I've got a few defense-based here, like Umbral, not really benefiting it. But then we do get to some defense-based champions up here. Rank 3 is where the big power. And then rank 4 is the big power spike for damage dealers because you're going to get basically, 30% crit damage? That's a big power spike. Mythical champions are going to get so many more stats, right? At basically rank 6, at rank 4, I'm getting 11,000 HP, 900 attack, 750 defense, and 45% crit damage. It's crazy stats. It really is. At rank 5, I'm going to be able to get an extra 90 accuracy and resistance. I'm not going to need to build anything into my champion at this point. And then I get 20 speed. So mythical champions get way too many stats from these blessings. It's going to be crazy for someone like Carnage the Anarch, because Carnage has accuracy built into his kit. Every time he gains 3 points of accuracy, he gets 1 point of crit damage. So he's going to get 90 points of accuracy from that 5-star blessing, which means he's going to gain an extra 30% crit damage on top of the 45% crit damage he's already getting. So he'll be on 75% crit damage from a 5-star. Then also all of his skills, it doesn't tell you in game, they have an accuracy multiplier. So his accuracy value gets added to his attack, and that is how he does damage. So not only is he getting the 900 attack, he's now also getting 990 because the accuracy is going into his multiplier. So he's going to gain so many stats from a 6-star blessing. And of course, the reason why I mention it is he is available from the Cursed City, and once you completely get him, you can continue to get his souls. So there is a chance you easily get the 6-star, as in you don't have to summon it, you don't have to chase it. You'll get him by playing the game. Yes, clearing these waves are very difficult. I'm not denying that. But in terms of a reality, what's the chance of you getting a 6-star mythical champion by pulling it from souls? Near enough, like it's almost impossible. This is like the best chance you're going to get. So, once you get Carnage, he's going to be crazy good. So this is the real power creep of the game. I got quite a lot of player power from this. You can just see now if I look at my Vladimir, who's at 5-star, he's now tanky. Pretty much. Like, he's got no defense in his artifacts really at 568. He's really got barely any resistance, but he's now at 245 resistance, 346 accuracy, nearly 3k defense, and 40,000 health. Because, to be honest, I'm getting more health than nearly my artifacts from blessings. It's quite a lot of stats, so we'll have to see how it plays out. It will make clearing Cintranos much easier, though. Right, let's get on now to the unofficial parts of the patch notes. Now, I always do a disclaimer before I go through this part, basically saying this isn't official patch notes, these are the unofficial patch notes. So this is information that I've gleaned from looking at the client information that exists when you install the game. This doesn't sort of hack any servers or anything like that. All that stuff is like secure. I simply read what the game controls and shows you in-game, but give you some of the information that you can't see in game. Most of the time it's things like multiplier information, things the way things are coded, conditions that affect how something works. Sometimes it's probability tables, lots of different things like that, things that are just existing in the client. But this information is things that I have interpreted, so it's obviously based on my experience and knowledge, and 9 times out of 10 I get them pretty accurate. Sometimes I overlook some things because game code is not simple. So first thing, I didn't actually clock until I went through the patch notes that they'd actually logged the information about the live arena changes. I thought they snuck that in. So obviously that is there. And just to note on Polymorph, the specific coding thing is can unique apply for skill? That's the condition that they've added, which basically means the only way it can proc is if it's applying for the first time when a skill is used on that champion. So that basically means when I have 4 people with Polymorph and I attack all enemies with the debuff in effect, then only 1 roll per enemy can happen. That's the way it's now working, rather than rolling per effect processing, which is what was happening before. So it does mean that it's much less likely to happen, but it's probably still too likely for a lot of people, considering now stat changes makes it universal for the blessing, right? So there's no punishment for picking Polymorph anymore, beyond the fact that the blessing doesn't give you more damage, but it might give you the win because you basically disable the enemies. So it doesn't solve the underlying problem with Polymorph, which is sheep debuff is just a bit too powerful. It's a bit too punishing. You lose a bit too much. Really, you shouldn't lose, like, for example, the base stats of your sheep when you become a sheep is not the stats of the champion that you have built. So if you have a 300 Siffy, that 300 speed Siffy becomes 150 sheep. So it becomes a lot more complicated. If you don't instantly get out of the Polymorph on the first attack that you do as a sheep, then you've got a very long wait before you can get out of sheep. So I absolutely think that is the underlying problem. And I think the best solution, I was talking to Scratch about this because, you know, we had different opinions. I probably am wrong in my assessment where I was like, this is probably going to kill Polymorph, just because I can see that people will almost like commit to it so aggressively that it will pay off, if that makes sense. Like normally you would look at it and go, well, there are better blessings. But if everyone all signs up for having everyone in Polymorph, then it kind of maybe overwhelms the point that, yes, it's still a pretty low chance. Like it's only about 54% when you have full teams of rank 6. It's not like it's 100% chance to do it. But just because everyone is doing it, it probably makes it so that you have to do it, if that makes sense. Whereas, you know, Life Harvest works all the time, Temporal Chains works all the time, Soul Reap works all the time. Those things are more consistent. But if everyone is just in Polymorph, then everyone will do it. It's just it's the sheep factor, right? If everyone is buying the Tesla car because the Tesla car looks the best, it doesn't matter whether it's the best car on the market. Everyone's going to want to buy the Tesla car. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think the best solution for Polymorph is this effect only works once per team. Make it so you can only have 1 Polymorph on a team. That's how you fix Polymorph. The problem is when you stack so many of them, when you have it on every single champion, especially now that there's no punishment, Polymorph itself is just too strong. So if you just have it so there's 1 Polymorph on a team, it's still a risk factor. It still has an impact, but it doesn't dominate the arena. And then it also forces players to think a little bit more like, okay, well, I can only have it on 1 champion. Which champion is it best placed on? Rather than just 4 times Polymorph GG, which is what I think is happening. So that's how it's working. 1 skill will activate per enemy and it will roll the chance once. Now let's talk about this soul summoning change, right? The wish list has gone from ×2 to ×8. Now that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to give you a bit of a reality check. The wish list is awful. It is terrible. It is basically worthless. It gives you a lot of gains, but in realistic terms, you're never going to realize the value of a wish list. Let me show you why. Right now, there's currently 755 souls available, assuming that you have all of the guaranteed champions unlocked, right? They don't give you the soul for something like Urost until you've actually claimed Urost from the Doom Tower. They don't give you the soul for things like Chronom and Jamasu until you've actually got them from the referral system. So assuming you've collected all of those heroes, there's currently 755 souls available, spread across rare, legendary, epic, and mythical. Now, the way that the ×2 and the ×8 works is essentially they just add 1 more soul into the deck, right? If you imagine 755 souls is a deck of cards, and then you can draw at random, that's how it works. So one of those cards will be the champion that you want. Well, in a ×2, they put another card in the deck, right? So it basically means that you've got 2 opportunities in a bigger deck. When they do ×8, they're just going to add 7 cards into that deck. So you've now got 8 opportunities, but the deck is 7 cards bigger because it's the first one that you would have had plus 7 additional chances. That's how ×8 is working. So how does that actually affect the odds of you getting a wishlist champion? Well, I've actually had to put it in 0-point percentages, okay? This is how bad the wish list is. If I pull a tier 1 stone, a Mortal Soulstone, the chance of me getting the 1 champion from my wish list that I want is actually these odds. Now, this assumes that there's only one champion in your wish list, like one legendary. If you actually put 3 champions in your wish list, it works exactly the same way like a progressive summon or a ×10 works. It might give you the opportunity of getting more of the 3, but it reduces the odds of you getting the 1. So if you actually just want one wish list, you should only put one champion in, because if you add more, you're essentially maybe increasing the odds of you getting one of those 3, but you're making it so much harder for you to get the one that you actually want. So this assumes that there's just one in the wish list. So right now, the chance of you getting a legendary from your tier 1 stone, your Mortal Soul Stone, this isn't like a specific star rating, this is just the legendary. It's about 0.03% chance. Now the ×2 boost put it to 0.06. And when you go to ×8, it becomes 0.23. So it's less than 0.25% chance that you're going to get it from a Mortal Soul Stone. Epics, this is a bit better. It goes from 0.1, 0.2 to 0.79 when you get to ×8. So it's still less than 1%. Now, if we go to tier 2, the Immortal Soul Stones, getting a bit better. Obviously, this only improves the odds of the rarity, the star rating. It doesn't improve the odds of the legendary too much. It's a bit better, but it's mostly people use it to get rid of the 1 and 2 stars. You're going to go to 0.06, 0.12, and 0.46. So now you get to about 0.5% chance to get a legendary. And then the epic is 0.15, 0.31, and 1.19%. So that is the odds at 8 ×8 for these. Now, if I go to tier 3, this is the Eternal Soul Stone. These stones are very hard to get. They're very expensive. Well, we're still not even breaching 1% chance to get the legendary stone. Now, just to note, the way that I've worked this math out is I've excluded the opportunity, the number of souls from epic, rare, and mythical. So this is only about 253, which is the current legendary pool. It's about 253. So this is like the odds of you getting a legendary and then dividing it with 253 total souls available. So at 0.12, 0.24, and it goes up to 0.92%. So less than 1%. Epics now is about a 1.7%. So it had me wondering, how does it work? What's the odds of me getting a 5 or 6 star legendary soul? Because that's kind of like what you want out of these soul stones. 5 and 6 stars, the big power point. It's when you start now getting things like accuracy, resistance, better, like Phantom Touch goes from 30 to 70%. You get things like Cruelty goes up to 15%, but stacks twice as fast. You get Life Harvest giving you a lot more turn meter. These things get much more powerful at 5 and 6 star. 6 stars when it all goes nuts, especially Crushing Rend. Crushing Rend more than doubles. Ward of the Fallen actually becomes functional. But these are the soul ratings you want. So it had me wondering, how much does the wish list impact my chance of me getting a 5 or 6 star legendary soul from a soul stone? And I'll be honest, this made me, I actually felt a little bit sick. I sent a message to YST and I was like, ew, it's horrible. These are the percentages. I actually had to go into 4 decimal points on the tier 1 stone to find the chance. So the chance right now, if you had no wish list, of you getting a 5 or 6 star soul that is legendary from a tier 1, a Mortal Soul Stone, without a boost, is 0.0007%. It is so unlikely that it's almost impossible. ×2 will boost that to 0.0013, and then 8 ×8 will go to 0.0052. Now, this isn't any 5 star or 6 star legendary soul. This is the 1. So that's worth noting, because some people might be thinking, nah, I've had loads of them. You might get, the odds of you getting a 5 or 6 star legendary will be bigger, but getting the 1 champion that you want, this is the opportunity. This is the odds. If you want, for example, a 5 or 6 star Jorgid, well, the odds of you getting it without a wish list is 0.0007%. And it only goes up to 0.0052%, right? We're not even in 1% territories here. We're in such low odds that basically the reality is, if you get one of these, you are almost like winning the lottery. It's so nuts. Like it's just so bad. When we go to a Immortal Soul Stone, the chance of you getting one 5 star, 6 star legendary soul, the one that you want, goes up to 0.011%. 0.021%, and then at a ×8 now, it's going to be 0.083%. So it's less than 0.1%. Now, you might be wondering, oh, well, Eternal Soul Stones are going to be so much better. No, it's still less than 1%. 0.92%. It's just, I don't know how I can like make this sound better. Wish list is basically useless. Unless this wish list is going to put me up to about a 5% chance. It's having it's having an impact, but not an impact that you can realize, right? You can make many statements about, well, it's better, it's times 8 better. But if you can never realize it, it's like High Mother Maud. High Mother Maud might be the best champion in the game, but if half the player base can never get them because the number of fragments you need is just too much to what you're ever going to get, well, that doesn't matter. It's exactly the same thing with Saoirse, the Chard. Unless you're going to spend lots and lots of money in Raid Shadow Legends, you will probably never get that champion. So it doesn't matter how good or how bad the champion is. It is irrelevant. And that's what I feel like with the wish list. It has such, like, you end up with such a little chance that you might as well just not use it. So yeah, there you go. Those are the odds for you to use as a reference point. It is an improvement, but we really need to be like times 25. You know, this is the problem. Times 25 is what we need. Now, one big thing I want to say, and I'm in an argument about whether I'm going to tell you this, but based on these math, I kind of said I would. There is evidence that boosted summons are coming in the code. It suggests that there is a boosted opportunity for you to get better chances at legendary souls. So I would suggest everyone right now, stop summoning your soul shards, save them. It's probably going to be coming within the next couple of weeks, I would have thought. It is in the game code. It is there. So yeah, I would just suggest people to stop summoning your shards. This information I'm sharing with you because there are other data miners in the world. A lot of top clans have someone in every single top clan who does exactly what I do, reads the game code, and they're probably sharing all this information in private, in Discords, going, hey, this is coming, this is coming. So in that situation, just like I did with the soul tournaments that were coming, I'm just letting everyone know, hey, this is happening, because it would be unfair that some people get an advantage and other people do not. I do say every time this comes up, if this information should not be in the static information, because Playroom should be aware that people are reading it if they don't want it to be known. And it does give not so much a competitive advantage, it gives advantages to people who are aware of this information. So I'm just letting everyone know right now, just to level the playing field. Stop summoning souls, you're going to get better opportunities, just like a times 2 ancient. Let's talk about the fragment exchange system. There is no coded entities to suggest what the drop rate table is. I have no idea what the odds of you getting fragments are. There is anecdotal information that people have been trying to collect it. It doesn't seem great. I'll be honest, it looks like it's going to take people several months, if not a year, depending on how much you're willing to sacrifice. It benefits a lot of free-to-play players who maybe didn't finish a lot of fusions, tried to get halfway, didn't get it. That's probably what it benefits more than anything else. It's not likely to benefit most people who do all the fusions, because like I looked at my chest, I managed to get 32 because I do every fusion. So it's going to take a long time. I do think it's a little bit extreme, but it's probably, me and Hell Hades were talking about it, and we kind of ended up with, well, it's better than nothing, but it's still a bit rough to get the champion, right? If you don't consider the champion is actually quite a decent system, you can walk away with like legendary books, you can walk away with 5-star chickens. I just don't know why they put brews and potions in there, because I can basically open 10 chests. I've seen one where it was like 10 chests and it was like 9 slots of 5 spirit potions. Like, that's gross. Considering the investment of energy you need to get these fragments, I think those potions and brew shouldn't be in there. Chickens, books, fine. If you want to put like a soul stone in there, absolutely. If you want to put like fragment dust, like the soul dust, oils, those sorts of currencies that you have to farm energy to get, fine. Potions, most of us, like a lot of us, don't even do potion keeps anymore, because we just get them from like Clan Boss, you get them now from Cintranos, you get them from Doom Tower, you get them on daily different things. You get so many of them in that it's actually quite it's not something you farm. So to put them in a chest where you actually have to farm like several, like you think a Dungeon Diver event is 5 fragments, that's about 5,000 energy, and you're going to get a 5 potion out of it. It's awful. It's terrible. Just to note the excluded champions, Doom Tower champions, you cannot exchange. Login champions, things like Arix, Cleopteryx, you cannot exchange those fragments. Referral champions such as Jamar Sacronum, you cannot exchange those. Any exclusive game mode champions, things like Vithrala, Lydia, Quintus, Saoirse the Crown, things that come from exclusive modes within the game, you can't exchange those fragments either. Tag team champions, things like the Rares, and Drexar, you cannot exchange, and you can't exchange anything that is currently active as a fusion like Ancora. You won't be able to exchange those. Those are the locked champions. Everything else can be exchanged. If you have 100 fragments, be very careful you don't accidentally exchange them instead of summoning the champion. You don't want to do that. And just to note, they have confirmed that there will never be any future events for older fragments like they did before, where sometimes 12 months after they do a special event to give you some fragments from the previous fusions. It's never going to happen again. So there's really no reason to hold on to any fragments anymore. Now let's go through the list of champions here. Rebalanced. First, Fortis. I did a video on this. Go check it out. I'll put a link in the card above so you can actually go check out the information. They have more, it's not really a damage buff, but they fixed him. It's more of a bug fix. His multiplier now is going would correctly multiply his damage, not add to his damage. Where before it would literally just add to the multiplier, it's now correctly sort of multiplying the multiplier, which means that we are now getting the 10% buff increase per fear. It will do a lot more damage. Does it fix his problems? I don't think so. I don't think it necessarily makes him meta in Arena, just because it's very difficult to scale him. And we know that fear is very difficult to apply because of polymorph, but it certainly makes him much more powerful, right? You should see about 10 fears be about 56% more damage. So it will actually be a significant damage increase. And then we've got Angar. His multiplier has changed from 0.2 to 0.27. So his A3 now is about a 35% damage increase. It's pretty good. Whether or not, again, they've kind of made it so that it's like a worse version of Morley or a worse version of other provokers. If I added like a top 10 list of provokers, I don't think he'd make it on there, just because the other top 10s do things like Bivald heals, or you've got Sigmund who has strengthen and shields, or you've got Morley who gives you turn meter. You've got Archer now who's just dominant. Obviously not everyone can get it, but it's a factor. Even things like Umbral gives you block buffs and provoke. It's just a bit awkward to use. His passive's only a 1 turn. I don't really think it makes him much better, but the damage is pretty good. Let's go through some new champions then. We got Bo Smith Flannan. He's a new rare Sylvan Watcher. His numbers are actually quite good. At 1.3k defense, the average defense is 1,450 to 1,500 now. That's kind of like the mid to high. So he's kind of like on a mid to high ratio here at 1,365, especially for a rare. He's at 1.6 times 2 defense and 3.4 times defense. The average AoE defense is about 3.6 to 4, right? Attack multipliers tend to be higher. This is a good multiplier. It's good damage. So absolutely, he could be an interesting damage dealer, and he probably fits into an early game finite team. It's quite good with the way that he counterattacks and ally attacks and does different things. So he could be quite good with his extra turning and things like that. So it'll be an interesting rare to take a look at. High Mother Maud here, we've got a base attack of 925. She is not a damage dealer. We know this. She's a support champion. If you manage to somehow have enough chests to get her in the near future, congrats. You've got basically a bit better of a Doom Priest that does a revive, and not so good as two Hanorach. That's kind of where I position her, right? She's in between a two Hanorach and a Doom Priest. Better than Doom Priest, kind of worse than two Hanorach because she does like a lot more. Increased defense, debuff spreading, decreased speed, all this kind of stuff. Two Hanorach's really, really good. Just a note on damage ratings. I know we have been waiting a while to repair these damage ratings. I'm hopeful within the next week we should get something. They kind of keep throwing spanner in the woodwork at me when they keep releasing new champions with new coded ways to do different things, new artifact sets that we have to add to the optimizer. It's just delaying the process. But I can tell you straight away that High Mother Maud is going to be weak because of her base attack. Now we get our first faction unity Bannerlord. Bannerlords, kind of like it's kind of weird. They call them like warlords in the game code. So it's almost like leaders of the faction. That's kind of the I suppose the fantasy that they've gone for here. He's a defense-based champion, 1564, quite high, quite good. Good base speed, 106. Now, he's a very unique damage dealer. His A1 is straightforward, 3.5 times defense, but his A2 is based on the value of the shield. So it's going to take his defense number, whatever that is, then it's going to add the shield value to it, and then that's the damage it deals. There is a cap of like defense times 1,000, so there is a cap. I don't think you ever really reach that cap unless you have like the most craziest shield growth. They've put a cap on it to stop you probably doing the infinity comp concept again, right, with Cadaver. That's probably what they've stopped. I've seen some play testing of him. This does crazy damage in Hydra already, so definitely a very powerful champion, especially with faction unity. If you get the 100% bonus shields, he can provide his own shield. It'd be quite good. The only thing I would suggest, though, is the shield value will be based on his HP. If you're building it for damage, you really want defense, so it might be better to bring someone else to shield to get the damage out of him. Then we have our first new mythical. This one is a High Elf mythical. It looks kind of like a Dark Elf. It's meant to be for Kale's father. I don't really know why he's changed faction. I feel like it was a bit of a lazy attempt because we needed a High Elf and we've already got a Dark Elf in Ophidius, so I guess that's why they did. Star Sage Galathir, he's going to be a mid-range damage dealer. He's not really a damage dealer. He's more of a utility champion. He will do okay damage, but he's not going to blow the world away. 1,000 base attack is quite low. Base attacks these days are around about 1,600, especially for mythical champions, they're 16 to 1,700. Good base speed. Very, very fast, 115. This is like up there with the fastest champions in the game. 3.5 across the board. His AoE is 5.5. I think that's an AoE, the A2 alt. So it'll be okay. If you can get a lot of attack on him, it could hit reasonably hard, but you're going to use him as utility if you get him, which is a big if. Then we come on to probably the craziest power creep champion in the game so far, Alaz the Sunbearer. this champion is going to break damage records for a defense-based champion. Right now, I think I looked, the highest defense multiplier in the game is 7.5. And when you activate his A2, which is almost guaranteed because his A1 will do a big chunk of damage, right? His second hit is conditional on the enemy having less than 50% HP. This is going to do an 8.4 multiplier with a base defense of 1476 that he can increase by 100%. And it won't increase 100% of his base, it's going to increase 100% of the defense that he has when he enters battle. So if you put him to like 6,000 defense or 7,000 defense, whichever number you can reach to, let's say it's 6,000, then he's going to increase that to 12,000. Then you're going to apply increased defense buff on it. You can see how not only is the multiplier huge, the fact you can scale it with his defense and the multiplier, this is by far the only one I think that can probably scale as hard as this is likely to be someone like Carnage, the Anarch, or like a Taras A3 or a Seer A3, right? If you take out the like max HP and multiplier based skills, just raw direct damage output, the only one that competes with this is Carnage. It's absolutely obnoxious amounts of damage. This, if you get Alaz the Sunbearer, he is going to destroy absolutely everything that he touches. If it's a longer fight, it's just going to get worse for enemies. He does have a very cool alternative version as well, where you can use it in Arena to break Stone Skin. He kind of has like HP burn options in Hydra. He's probably up there. He's not the best mythical, but he's very close. The best mythical in the game right now is Androck from Bannerlords because he has the ability to apply AoE Enfeeble on every target, extend the duration of Enfeeble, and it becomes even protected. And that Enfeeble debuff makes Androck probably the best champion in the game, just because of what he can do to enemies. Nothing works on your team if they're weak hitting. You don't get dragon poisons, you don't get anything like those sorts of things. You don't get like fears from the A1 from the Torment Head, you can't get your buff stolen, you don't take poisons. Like when you start realizing how much weak hits just disable content, Anrock from Bannerlords, he is the most strongest mythical in the game. But this guy's really, really close to it just because of his raw damage output, the HP burning, the ability to break Stone Skin, extra hits. Very, very strong. Good base speed as well. Alternate 23,955. It's really high HP. Now let's get on to our first part of the pairing of the fusion. White King Narcissus. He's a Void Legendary HP-based nuker. He is probably up there with a Taras option for Arena if you don't have Taras Marichka, but you get this guy and you get the fusion. He is as good as those two and Sifri Rotus. Those three pairings are probably the top three, like the meta. Those three can go into the meta and do absolutely perfectly fine. He's got a base HP of 23,955. That's pretty high. It's pretty good. It's not the highest. Mountain King's pretty high, like 30,000, but it's very good. 101 speed. His A1 and A3 aren't so good for damage, right? His A3 is 0.2 as a base. And then for every buff, you basically can scale up to a bonus 0.2 at 10, right? So if I have 10 buffs, and I attack, well, I'll get a bonus 0.2. And if the enemy has 10 buffs, I'll get another bonus 0.2. So if it's like they have 10 buffs, I have 10 buffs, then I'm going to do like 0.6. Then it's huge. Then it's a Taras A2. But that's very difficult to, realize. At best, you're probably looking at like 5 on me and 5 on them. It becomes a 0.4. It will block revive if there's 3 or more buffs on the enemy. So it's not bad. But it's going to be one of those things where sometimes you think of it and goes, wow, that did absolutely nothing. Because if it hits without any buffs, 0.2 is really weak. But if you have a few buffs on yourself, on the enemy, then it's going to really, really help you. So I definitely recommend trying to put in with many buffers like Duchess or Sifri. That will really help you just scale that A3, which is where you're going to get like your block revive, which is really important. But the A2, that just needs a strengthen or a shield. Very good into Marichka, very good into bolster. These are things you see in Arena all the time. This will do a 0.56 because it's a double hit. That is very strong. That is probably the highest HP multiplier when you exclude things like Taras's ability to multiply his A3, right? The base of that is really low. It's the fact that additional buffs can make it really stronger. The closest thing that I can think of is probably a Vasulf at 0.45. So this is very, very strong, the A2. Absolutely, he is top tier for Arena, but just keep in mind the A3 is weak without the buff, so you need to build around that. And then finally, we have White Queen Ankara, not a damage dealer. We know this, so this is going to be very weak. She's the support-based unit, but at 111 speed, she's very good. She really makes Narcissus a monster because her A1 will essentially give him back his abilities just used. So you can go A2, then when you A1 with Ankara, that will basically give his A2 back because it resets 2 turns on any random buff any random skill that's active. So if all you've used is A2, it will reduce his cooldown by 2 turns. So when he comes back to his turn, he'll have his A2 again. So the first one didn't kill them, the second one will. Some things to note about that: if you weak hit, you don't get the skill reduction. So you want to make sure when you're A1 in with Ankara, you don't target weak affinity, because that will force you to not get that reduction. That could hurt you in the long run. But absolutely really good when you pair it. On her own, she's I think a bit okay. Still pretty good. The A2 is quite strong, but without block debuffs, that could be a problem. But those are the new champions. Those are the new multipliers. Those are the different effects. Yeah, that is probably the end of the patch notes here. Let me know what you think in the comments below about this update. It feels like a very power creep update. There's lots of bonus stats and everything here. It's it's like a lot of, like, the stats alone from Blessings have made, I think I got like 1.1 million player power just by logging in, which that tells you how much stat creep and power creep we've had. But there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.